Hi there, it's Szymon here from Leo Rover team. I will show you now in this video what you can expect when you actually buy the Rover, buy the self-assembly kit or buy the assembled version. And well, let's begin with the most probable one that you will get. So the self-assembly kit is the one that most of our clients get, and most of our clients try to figure out actually what they will actually get in the box and how to assemble the Rover after all. So let's take the box and yeah, open it however you like. So in the box you will find a leaflet which will guide you to the assembly manuals, where to find them. We put them online. You'll have the proper link to go through the assembly. And then, actually inside the box you will have more and more boxes. Each one corresponds to the separate step in the assembly manual. So you can independently build the Rover parts and then go through the assembly. We call it marriage. So the point in the assembly where you put everything together. I will take it here. You end up with actually 7 small boxes and 2 bigger boxes, plus 1 box that normally will come empty. This empty box is used by us when you order something more than just the kit. So you can expect anything like beginning with the battery, additional battery, any power box, any stuff that you can find in our eShop and we can fit in the box. So I would say most probably you'll just like toss the box away. Yeah, as I said, you'll end up having 7 plus 2 boxes. 4 of the boxes are wheel kits, and this is as well the first step in the assembly instruction that you will take. You will build each wheel separately. You can do it in however you like in any sequence. There is no ideal way to do that. So, for example, if you begin with building the wheel and then want to go through something different, you can try to assemble the main electronics box, etc. The first box that you will normally open is the tools box. Let's go through that. And you should expect that you don't need anything more from the tools other than the things that are inside this box. So don't worry if you don't have the proper tools. Especially I'm saying that for our American friends who use imperial measurements. We use metric system, so you'll have everything here. I'm saying about Phillips screwdriver, some wrenches that are used for the suspension and frame, hex head screws, additional screws that are used to mount the stuff on top of the mounting platform. Here's this handy tool, which is a micro SD extraction tool that makes it a lot easier to extract the micro SD card when you need to reflash the software. There is a special box that you can use to just toss away any additional screws or just use it for the assembly purposes. And some, I would say, chemicals. So the lithium grease that you use in the wheel assembly, Loctite glue, wheel assembly as well, and Vaseline that becomes handy when you need to thread the harness, thread the cabling of the Rover. It makes it easier then. And the last 3 things that I have here is the charger. So you'll have like typical wall plug charger to charge the battery, and some adapters that, so one of the adapters allows you to connect to micro USB, and second one to mini USB. The one that is used for mini USB is as well used to provide you the proper USB connection outside of the rover when you want to put anything more on top of that. The first thing in the assembly process will be the wheel assembly, one of the 4 wheels that you make, that you put up. It will take about 15 minutes to assemble each wheel, and as I said, you can do it in any order you like. What you'll find in the box is first the wheel motor, which in the newest version of the rover will come with its own cabling, so you don't need to solder anything. Everything is done by us. You just need to screw it, assemble using the tools that we provide. Here is the motor with the planetary gearbox, with the encoder already soldered, wheel cap, and the cable. Then you will find the wheel tire together with a 3D printed wheel rim. They come pre-assembled, but you will need to check that as well. Some other parts that are 3D printed in the manufacturing process by us are the torque plate, which is used to deliver torque from the motor to the wheel rim, and wheel mounts, which are really sturdy plastic parts that come with threaded holes to make it easier for you to build the wheel. Next part actually is a tube. This part is a tube that will hold your motor, hold your wheel bearings, and then actually be the biggest structural part of the wheel. It makes the wheel waterproof, so the motor is inside. It's sealed by the sealing rings and other rubber structures that make it both easy to assemble and easy to maintain during the work of the rover. The bearings and additional screws, more screws. There's a lot of screws in the assembly process. You'll have about 150 parts to build it. Don't worry, it will take about 8 hours for the whole rover. You can do it anytime you like, and you'll be good to go. I won't show you the rest of the wheels because this is pretty much the same thing. You just need to make sure that there are 2 types of wheels, 2 types of wheel boxes, one with longer cables and one with shorter cables. They are there to fit the front and rear wheels of the rovers. Okay, let's then go through the battery quarter and a twin box of additional quarter. So I'm saying about the rear left and right part of the frame. If you go through the battery quarter, you will find all the parts that make the battery waterproof and actually structurally easy to maintain. So the first thing is the actual frame quarter, so the thing that keeps the battery on the rover. Second thing is the 3D printed cover of the battery quarter that comes only for the aesthetics. It can be customized. You'll have access to the 3D models of such things, and you can do whatever you like with that. Change the color, change the size, change the shape. Then you'll get the actual battery that fits here inside the box, the waterproof sealed box, plastic box that makes sure that the battery stays, the water stays out of the battery pack. Waterproof vapor connector that comes as a standard in Leo Rover to connect the power either to the battery or to the main electronics box. It's our standard thing that is available as well off the shelf if you maybe need to change the cabling. Waterproof button that turns off the battery and on. And as I previously said, more screws. Then if you go through the additional quarter box, you'll see that it is a twin box, twin quarter of the Rover, which essentially is a right quarter. Battery is on the left of the Rover. Then you have the right quarter of the Rover that doesn't do anything in the stock box other than looks. I'm saying that because you'll find other additional components, I mean add-ons on our eShop, like power box or other components that can be used instead of this additional box. And as well, you can just put your stuff, your electronics, IMU, anything you like to be stored internally in the Rover. You can just connect it there to the quarter. So you'll find the same mirror like part of the frame, the aesthetic cover, and screws to assemble this step. In the same box, to make sure that everything fits nice in the boxes, you'll find as well the other step, which is the front cover of the Rover and the mounting plate. This mounting plate is used to mount anything you like to be put on the Rover. So normally in the stock Rover there is nothing on the mounting plate on the top of the Rover. You can use it to connect robotic arms, lidars, additional electronics, anything you like, using the threaded holes that are pushed to the part. Then you'll have the front cover, and the front cover still another aesthetic part that can be customized. You can 3D print it on your own if you break it. If you want to put anything additional here, you can as well change it for your purposes. Yeah, and mounting parts. Each part of the assembly is packed the way that you could actually build the Rover not using any instructions, because every box and every bag of the Rover comes with the part and the corresponding screws that are used to put them together. We had some clients who just built the Rover not using the instructions. Okay? Kudos to them. So we had the wheels, we had the quarters of the Rover frame. So let's now go with the whole frame and suspension of the Rover. It's one of the big boxes. It's the heaviest one, as it fits many of the aluminum and stainless steel parts that come as a part of the frame. The main thing here and the main part of the Rover frame is the main frame. It's a laser cut, bent, and riveted part that is designed as a full metal part to carry all the Rover weight and the additional things that you put there. Then you have the thing that we call the back frame, or the tail of the Rover, and the suspension beams. The suspension beams are a part of one of the newest designs that we have. They are formed by aluminum extrusions that have grooves in them. Yeah, a lot of. Aluminum extrusions that have grooves in them to make it much easier for you to mount anything you want to mount on the suspension. And I'm saying about some accelerometers, additional cameras that can look, for example, on the wheels, etc. You don't need to design any fixtures, then just use these standard parts. Then you have the differential bar, so a part of the suspension, and the differential bar push rods, which are essentially plastic plain bearings, ball bearings that push the suspension, the strange suspension that we used. Another aluminum parts, ball bearings, full metal ball bearings with full metal full metal enclosures of the bearings, screws, and the parts of the suspension that will be connected after the assembly process. We will be connected to the beams. These are the parts that are made of 3mm steel. So yeah, tank grade design. Okay, so let's go through the last box. The last box is something out of totally another game, because what we did here is that we built some mechanical parts that just show you how sturdy and how easy to manually assemble the rover is. The next box, and the last one that we'll use here, is the main electronics box. So now you'll learn how to use the rover controller and what is internally in case of computing power. First thing that will come into your view is the controller, the wheel controller. And essentially, this thing here is the core to ROS controller board, which is built on STM processor and is used in the rover to control the wheels, getting the signal from the main computer, which is Raspberry Pi. And I'm saying it is used here in the rover for such a simple thing as controlling the wheels, but comes with many other additional features that you can use for your own projects. I'm saying about connecting to GPIO pins, other controlling interfaces, which is, for example, E2C or even CAN. You can connect additional servos here and many other things that you'll see actually in our documentation on the website. Then we'll have some zip ties, some parts, some additional parts for the camera, for the rover camera, waterproof connectors, which is mini USB connector that comes on top of the rover, so you have access to the internal USB using this connector as well. As I told you, with the battery assembly, standard VAPU connector, which connects the battery to the main electronics box, and the connectors cover the cable that is used to connect the battery and the main electronics box, the cable that is used internally to connect Wi-Fi modem to the external antenna, additional components like seals and screws. Here what you can see, I will actually open it more. So here what you will see is the lens cover. So the cover that covers the main camera of the rover. It is a standard GoPro replacement lens that we use here to make sure that it's sealed enough to make it to make the box waterproof, and is sturdy enough for you not to worry about scratching that or breaking during the use of the rover. Additional 3D printed fixtures inside of the main electronics box, and then we'll have the actual main electronics box casing. So it's a 3D printed plastic part with brass inserts inside for you to make it easier to assemble and disassemble, because it may happen during the maintenance, during the use of the rover, that you will need to disassemble something. We made it easier for you not to break the things inside. So brass things where you might have to open the rover or disassemble things after the usage. And the cover of the main electronics box. Yeah. Inside of that, you'll see some other boxes, which are components that we don't that will don't unpack for you. Yeah, you can do that. So the first thing is that you'll get a Raspberry Pi 4 computer, mini computer. By standard, it comes with 2 GB RAM. That's the thing that you work on with in the Rover. You have a box with a camera that is connected by a tape to the Raspberry Pi computer. It's a fisheye camera that provides you the main video streaming. In the newest versions of the Rover, we as well upgraded the micro SD card to a well-branded one and fast one to make sure that there is no bottleneck in the memory for you to use. And which is the best thing in the newest 1.7 version of the Rover is a new Wi-Fi modem, which is Alpha Network Wi-Fi modem. You'll pretty much use only the modem and the antenna. You'll toss everything out. And it will give you much more power, much more signal power when you use the Rover remotely. And that's pretty much it. As I said, it will take about 8 hours for you to build the Rover. Take your time. It's actually fun. I love to do that. Every time we have an order for any assembled version of the Rover. And saying about assembled one, the actual thing here is that if you don't want to do that because you don't have the time, don't have the like you are aware like, or you are afraid that you will break something, we can do that for you, and that will be the next step of this video. I will show you what happens when you buy the assembled Rover from us. Here we have the biggest box that we ship the stuff in. It fits the assembled Leo Rover and all the equipment and tools that are needed to maintain the Rover. Make sure that you put the box in the upright position, because otherwise you'll be covered in the packing chips that are used internally. And well, yeah, open the box however you like. Don't worry, nothing should fall off of that. First thing that you'll see is the leaflet that we put here. It will show you where to find the documentation of the Rover, the Wi-Fi credentials, etc. So make sure that you keep it and then read it after you play with the Rover as well. Let's just take the Rover out of the box, and you'll end up with that on the table. Just cut the stretch that is used here to make sure that the Rover doesn't fall off and is waterproof during the transport. And just take the Rover out of the packing. What you'll see here is the Rover, the leaflet as I told, and the extra box that was beneath the Rover that is used for tools. In the tools box, you'll find the charger, the power plug for the US standard, different cables that are used to flash the card and to connect to the Rover with your additional equipment. And you'll see the two things that will become handy now, that you'll use now, which are the antenna and the hex head screwdriver. The hex head screwdriver is normally used to connect and disconnect the battery of the Rover. By default, the Rover comes with the battery already connected to the box, but it may happen that in your case something will be strangely different. Second thing is the antenna, which needs to be just assembled, needs to be screwed to the top connector of the Rover. Then when you put the Rover in any safe position, which is essentially most probably not the table, which it can fall off. But yeah, for the video purposes, we'll have it here. Just click the battery button, which is located on the battery quarter, and wait until it stops flashing. The battery LED, the battery light, shows you the status of the rover. Every time that when it flashes, when the LED blinks, it means that the rover is still booting or that has any connection failure. When it stops flashing, you'll end up with a functional rover that can be used. Okay, so the LED light is already on, which means that the rover is fully functional, and we can go to our device to control the rover. You'll control the rover using any web-enabled device, which is a laptop, PC, tablet, smartphone, anything that comes in with a live browser and a Wi-Fi standard 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi connection. After you see the light of the rover turned on, it means as well that the rover already has the access point of the Wi-Fi turned on as well. You should find a proper Wi-Fi in your device. The Wi-Fi will be named Leo Rover / anything. Just connect to the Wi-Fi. If it asks for password, type password, and wait until it establishes the connection. It may take a couple of seconds until it establishes the connection because there is no internet connection from the rover yet. And especially it will take more in Apple devices because it always wants to look for the internet in the networks. Okay, after everything is connected and established, go to your web browser and type 10.0.0.1, which is the IP of the rover that you can connect to now. Having everything properly established, you should end up having the web UI seen in the web browser. This web UI shows you the video streaming from the video streaming from the main camera of the rover, the joystick that you can drive the rover with, and some other additional features like servo controls and turn-off commands on the buttons. Well, if everything is done properly and the rover is working, it's time to play. And now, as you already know your rover, it's time to bring your projects to life.